Hi, my name is Colleen Lamott, and I am an OpenSciEd teacher and writer in the state of Washington. In this lesson, students continue to analyze data and look for patterns, but now we are doing this with organisms other than penguins. And students are also much more independent in leading their own discussions, building models, and giving and receiving feedback. So let's begin with how we got here. During the last lesson, we figured out that ancient penguins led to the 18 species of modern penguins today. The species lived in different places with environment suited structures, and a single fossil reflects a population on average, but not the full variation. So from there, we are now wondering, how might other organisms be connected to the ancient organisms that preceded them? So let's review the lesson at a glance to see how we will address our wonderings. This is an investigation lesson that requires 2 days and about 30 minutes of teacher preparation in order to prepare for this hands-on investigation lesson. And the 2-day lesson can be broken down into 2 main sense-making lobes. In the first chunk of the lesson, we sort organisms by their body structure, looking for similarities and differences, and then create a model to represent the patterns that we discover. From that, we figure out that body structures of living things today are similar, but not identical, to the most similar fossils. And sometimes, but not always, there are noticeable differences in these structures or their overall size. On day 2, the next big section of the lesson, we sort organisms based on when and where they lived to see if this can explain those patterns and body structures that we figured out on the previous day. So from that, we figure out that organisms from earlier time periods, so older fossils, tend to have greater structural differences. So in other words, they are less like those modern forms. And that body structures seem to match the environment in which they lived. From all of this, we are able to update our model, and we figure out that modern organisms are similar but not identical to their closest fossil relatives. Differences in body structure vary but are often noticeable in the size or the shape of those structures. And that earlier fossils tend to show greater structural differences, and body structures often reflect the environments where organisms lived. In other words, this is similar to what's going on with penguins. So now we are left wondering, how could organisms living today be connected to organisms that lived long ago? In other words, we want to apply all that we figured out from this lesson, as well as our previous lessons, to seeing if we can make a claim with evidence about those connections. So let's look at some key moments in the lesson to make sure you're supported. In part 2, students are going to be sorting organisms by body structures. So this is happening on day 1, and students will be put into small groups and using organism data cards to sort the assigned organism by body structure. So students will be assigned one of the 3 different organisms, either the horse, the horseshoe crab, or the whales. Then, once they've done that in their small groups, they'll make a model based on patterns in the body structures. And it is important to note that when you make these groups, have at least 2 groups per organism so that you will be supported and able to facilitate the next day's activity. On day 2, that brings us to part 6, where the students are now sorting these organisms by when or where they lived. So each small group will continue to work with the organism that they did on the day prior, and they'll be assigned one new factor to explore more in depth. It's either going to be where or when it lived. And then students will, in their small groups, use building understanding discussion to agree based on evidence on how the patterns in the body structures that they figured out previously relate to when or where those organisms lived. Then they will complete the patterns handout to prepare for sharing what they figured out with other groups. In part 7, they're going to share patterns in mini scientist circles. So you're going to combine the small groups to form these 3 mini scientist circles by organism. So again, horseshoe crabs, horses, and whales. And then in each scientist circle, the small groups are going to take turns. They'll take turns to share their findings that they had recorded on the patterns for my organism handout. They will individually record the patterns that other groups are sharing, and they will ask clarifying questions, both for themselves as well as to support the learning of their peers who are sharing. And then in part 9, after they have made a consensus model, made their own model with their group, they are going to explain these models in jigsaw groups. So in this mixed jigsaw group, there will be 3 people, one from each of the organisms, and they will share and discuss their individual models and give and receive respectful feedback. And the focus of this is really on students asking and answering clarifying questions that can reveal patterns and the reasoning behind their models. And there are supports for students as they engage in this independent activity. So they will have a handout that they can complete as they progress, as well as giving and receiving feedback to peers, handout. So where do we go from here? Now that we've done all this sequence in our lesson, where do we go? Well, we realize that we analyze data to identify patterns of the similarities and differences between modern organisms and their fossils. And we created models to show these relationships between body structures and then when and where the organism lived. So now we want to put together all of the pieces from this lesson as well as our previous ones to argue for how organisms living today could be connected to the organisms that lived long ago. So now I'll share some handy tips and tricks for this lesson. When we are creating groups, the purpose of these groups is for students to collaborate to identify patterns using evidence while building independence in discussion, feedback, and critique. So when you are planning your groups, it's important to be intentional about the composition of these groups, where the groups are located in the classroom, and then any additional supports or resources needed for particular groups in your space. I also highly recommend that you use the callouts in the teacher guide. They're right there, but they are so helpful. And I know sometimes I forget and I overlook them. In some of these callouts, there are actual sentence frames. I would suggest printing these sentence frames and having them available for students as they are having these discussions, since this is such a student-driven discussion lesson. Also, according to the Facebook groups, some teachers find that when they are assigning groups for their students who may need more academic support, putting them into the horse group may be the best fit for those students. Then we're going to be creating models. So we create models 2 times in this lesson. And as the lesson is written, we use these stickers. But some teachers have found that it is more helpful to use a digital template. So this is the work done by a teacher who graciously shared on the Facebook group. She is credited down here. So take a look at that if you find that helpful. Another teacher from the Facebook group talked about making sets of stickers and storing them in envelopes. And then as students are building their models, once they are done, they would just take a picture for future reference. That picture might be uploaded somewhere or printed for them to use later. I also like to have printed copies, and I always print them on color and laminate them because I don't want them to get lost. And then I will put a number on the back so that it's really easy for me to regroup any of those stickers if they get misplaced or dropped. There are no new words in this lesson, so our word wall management is pretty easy. We'll just continue to use the words from our previous lessons. So make sure that those are accessible for your students. As far as poster management, again, we're really not looking at any of the posters from prior lessons, And we're not making any new posters this time. I always, though, have my driving question board handy because I find it's helpful for us to reference in the moment as necessary. And that brings us to an end. My students really appreciated this lesson because we got to explore these different organisms, but they also use these discussion skills that we've been working on for so long to facilitate their own conversations. And it was just really motivating and engaging for students to be empowered in this work. I hope this video helps you prepare to support your students in figuring out through data analysis and student-led discussion and consensus models. Thanks for watching.